Part 1. Everything's connected. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the simple fact of being alive right here, right now. You are here, a part of this world, connected to everything you see and to countless things you can't see. It's easy to feel small, insignificant, in the face of such vastness. But what if I told you that you are intimately connected to all of it? That you are not separate, but an integral part of a vast, interconnected web of existence. This isn't just a poetic notion. It's a profound truth that has been understood for centuries in Buddhism. And it's a truth that science is increasingly confirming. This profound interconnectedness, this fundamental truth that everything depends on everything else, has a name in Buddhism. It's called Dependent Origination. The phrase itself might sound a little complex, but let's unravel it together. At its heart, it's the simple, breathtaking realization that everything is connected. Everything. Nothing exists in isolation, cut off from the rest of reality. Everything arises in dependence on other things, exists because of other things, and changes because of other things. And, crucially, everything affects everything else. We are all interwoven, like strands in a cosmic web, each vibrating with the movements of the others. Dependent origination. It points to the fact that nothing comes into being on its own. Everything originates from a web of causes and conditions. Imagine a spider's web, glistening with morning dew. Each tiny droplet reflects the entire web, and each strand of the web supports the others. Touch one strand, and the whole web trembles. Our universe is like that. A vast, interconnected network of relationships, where every action, every thought, every breath sends out ripples of influence. Think of your own body. You are not a single, solid entity, but a community of trillions of cells, all working together in perfect harmony. Each cell has its own role, but it depends on the others to survive and thrive. Your heart depends on your lungs, your brain depends on your gut, and all of it is constantly interacting with the world outside. This isn't just a beautiful idea to contemplate. It's a fundamental truth that can transform how we live. When we truly understand this interconnectedness, it shifts our entire perspective. We begin to see ourselves not as separate individuals, but as participants in a much larger drama. It fosters compassion, reduces anxiety, and connects us to a deeper sense of purpose. And it's not just a spiritual insight. Science is revealing the same truth. Think about the study of ecosystems. Ecologists have shown us how every organism, from the largest whale to the smallest microbe, plays a vital role in the health of the whole. Remove one element, and the entire system can be disrupted. The same principle applies to our own bodies, to our societies, and to the entire planet. Or consider the fascinating field of quantum physics. Scientists are discovering that at the subatomic level, particles are not separate entities, but interconnected probabilities, constantly interacting and influencing each other. The very act of observation seems to affect the behavior of these particles. It's a difficult to grasp concept, but it points to the same fundamental truth, that reality is not a collection of separate objects, but a web of interconnected relationships. Think of a simple conversation. Imagine a friend sharing their worries with you. By listening with empathy and offering support, you can help them feel less alone and more hopeful. But if you dismiss their feelings, you might inadvertently make them feel more isolated and discouraged. Our interactions, even seemingly small ones, have consequences. So, the evidence is all around us, in our bodies, in our relationships, in the natural world. We are deeply interconnected. The understanding of this principle is the starting point of a much deeper, more meaningful connection with the world. The Buddha knew this, and now science is catching up. This is the power of dependent origination. Part 2. The How. The 12 Links. So, we've been talking about this amazing interconnectedness, this dance of existence. But how does this dance actually work? How do we go from a simple moment of awareness to, well, sometimes feeling completely overwhelmed and lost? The Buddha, in his profound wisdom, mapped out this process. He gave us a guide, a way to understand the unfolding of experience. He called it the 12 Links of Dependent Origination. Think of it like this. Imagine you're learning a new dance. At first, the steps seem complicated, confusing. But as you learn each individual step and how they connect to the next, the whole dance starts to make sense. The 12 links are like those individual steps, showing us how our thoughts, feelings, and actions create the rhythm of our lives. It's not a rigid sequence, it's more like a flowing, interconnected cycle. And the best part? We can learn to dance with more grace and awareness. Let's explore these steps, these 12 links, one by one. And we'll see how they resonate not just with ancient wisdom, but with what we're learning about ourselves through modern science, all woven into the story. Remember, this is a circle, a continuous loop, not a straight line. 1. Ignorance, avidya. Imagine you're walking through a beautiful garden, but you're wearing a pair of glasses that distort everything. The colors are dull, the shapes are blurred, and you can't see the pathways clearly. That's what ignorance is like. It's not about being unintelligent. It's a fundamental misperception of reality. In Buddhism, this specifically includes not seeing that life inherently involves some degree of unsatisfactoriness or suffering, dukkha. It's not grasping the Four Noble Truths. It's also not seeing things as they truly are, impermanent, anicca, constantly changing, and without a permanent separate self, anatta. We're mistaking a mirage for real water, and that fundamental misunderstanding shapes everything that follows. Our own brains, with their built-in biases, often reinforce this distorted view. 2. Volitional formations, samskara. Because you're wearing those distorted glasses, ignorance, you react in certain ways. You might stumble, reach out for things that aren't there, or get frustrated. These reactions, these choices, are like planting seeds. If you plant seeds of anger, you'll grow more anger. If you plant seeds of kindness, you'll grow more kindness. These are your karmic formations, the patterns you create through your actions and thoughts. Think about how hard it is to break a bad habit. That's because those habits have become deeply ingrained in our neural pathways, like well-worn paths in our minds. 3. Consciousness, vijnana. Even with those distorted glasses, you still have a basic awareness. You see something, even if it's not clear. You hear sounds, you feel sensations. This is consciousness, the stream of experience flowing through you, moment by moment. It's like a river, constantly changing, never the same from one instant to the next. And scientists are still trying to figure out exactly how this river of consciousness arises from the physical matter of the brain. It's one of the biggest mysteries in science. 4. Name and form. Namarupa. This is where your mind and body come together as a whole. It's the experience of being you, with your unique physical characteristics and your mental landscape. It's the feeling of, I am here, in this body, with these thoughts and feelings. But it's important to remember that both your mind and your body are constantly changing, constantly influenced by everything around them. We now know, for example, that our gut bacteria can actually influence our mood. That's how interconnected our mind and body truly are. 5. 6 senses, Sadayatana. These are your gateways to the world, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, which in this context perceives thoughts and feelings. They're like 6 windows through which you experience reality. But remember those distorted glasses, ignorance? They're still affecting what you perceive through those windows. 6. Contact, Sparsha. This is the moment when your senses connect with their objects. Your eyes see a shape, your ears hear a sound, your mind registers a thought. It's like the spark that ignites the whole process. It is the simple interaction of your senses and the objects. 7. Sensation, Vedana. And from that contact, a feeling arises. It might be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It's the raw, immediate reaction to the experience. It's like your internal weather report, sunny, cloudy, or stormy. And our brains are wired to react to these feelings, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. 8. Craving or thirst, Trusna. This is a key point in the cycle. If the feeling is pleasant, you want more. If it's unpleasant, you want it to stop. This is craving, the driving force behind so much of our suffering. It's like an addiction, constantly seeking the next fix of pleasure or relief. 9. Grasping, Upadana. This is when craving intensifies. You cling to the pleasant. You push away the unpleasant. And you hold tightly to your ideas and beliefs, even to your sense of me. It's like trying to hold on to water. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. 10. Becoming bhava. This is the ongoing process of existence, the momentum of all these actions and reactions. It's like a wheel spinning faster and faster, fueled by craving and grasping. It's the constant state of flux, of becoming something new, moment by moment. Everything is changing. Everything is in motion. 11. Birth, Jati. This isn't just about physical birth. It's about the arising of every new moment. Every thought, every feeling, every experience is a new birth, a new opportunity. 12. Aging and death, Jaramarana. And inevitably, everything that arises also passes away. This is the law of impermanence. It includes all the suffering that comes with change, loss, and the eventual end of this particular life. It's the natural cycle of everything. This might seem like a pretty grim picture, like we're trapped in this endless cycle. But here's the key, the hopeful message that the Buddha offered. We can break this chain. we can take off those distorted glasses. Ignorance. We can learn to see reality clearly, to understand the interconnectedness of all things, the impermanence of all phenomena, and the lack of a separate, solid self. And the amazing thing is, science is showing us how we can do this. We now know that our brains are not fixed, they're incredibly adaptable. Through practices like mindfulness and meditation, we can actually rewire our brains, weakening the pathways of craving and aversion, and strengthening the pathways of wisdom and compassion. For example, studies have shown that regular meditation practice can increase gray matter in areas of the brain associated with attention, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. We can learn to respond to experience with more equanimity, more kindness, and more understanding. We can, in a very real sense, learn to dance with life instead of being tossed around by it. This understanding of the 12 links is the first step towards that freedom. Part 3. The Why, the Buddha's Superpower. Let's go back in time, over 2,500 years ago. Imagine a prince named Siddhartha Gautama, living a life of luxury and privilege. He had everything he could possibly want: wealth, power, a loving family. But he felt a deep sense of unease, a nagging feeling that something was missing. He saw suffering in the world, sickness, old age, death, and he couldn't ignore it. So, he made a radical decision. He left his palace, his family, everything he knew, to seek a solution to this fundamental problem of human suffering. He spent years searching, studying with different teachers, practicing extreme austerities. He pushed himself to the very limits of human endurance. But he still hadn't found the answer. Finally, he sat down beneath a Bodhi tree, vowing not to move until he had found the truth. And there, after a long and arduous meditation, he had a profound awakening. He saw reality as it truly is. He saw the interconnectedness of all things, the dance of dependent origination. He understood the cause of suffering and the path to liberation. He became the Buddha, the awakened one. It wasn't magic. It was the result of deep, sustained, focused attention. A remarkable capacity that we all have the potential to develop. One of the most radical insights of the Buddha was that there's no ultimate beginning to the universe, no first cause. It's not like a chain with a starting link. It's more like a circle or a constantly flowing river. Things are always changing, always arising and passing away in an endless cycle of cause and effect. This can be a challenging concept to grasp. We're so used to thinking in terms of beginnings and endings. We ask, what came first, the chicken or the egg? But the Buddhist perspective offers a different way of looking at it. It's a cycle, a continuous process. This doesn't mean that nothing matters, or that our actions don't have consequences. Quite the opposite. It means that everything matters, that every action, every thought, every moment creates ripples that extend throughout the entire web of existence. The Buddha's insight, his understanding of dependent origination, wasn't just a philosophical idea. It was a profound shift in perspective, a new way of seeing the world. It was the realization that we are not separate, isolated individuals, but rather integral parts of a vast, interconnected network. We are all interwoven, like threads in a tapestry, or like stars in a galaxy. And what's fascinating is that modern science is increasingly confirming this ancient wisdom. Think about the concept of stardust. Scientists tell us that the atoms that make up our bodies were forged in the hearts of dying stars, billions of years ago. We are literally made of the same stuff as the stars. Or consider the air we breathe. It contains atoms that have been cycled through countless living beings over millions of years. We are constantly exchanging matter and energy with the environment around us. As the famous astronomer Carl Sagan said, "The nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies, were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. We are made of star stuff." The Buddha himself said, "When this is, that is. From the arising of this comes the arising of that. When this isn't, that isn't. From the cessation of this comes the cessation of that." This interconnectedness isn't just a scientific fact, it's a lived experience. When we truly understand it, when we feel it, it changes how we relate to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. It fosters compassion, reduces fear, and opens us up to a deeper sense of belonging. It allows us to see that our well-being is intimately connected to the well-being of all beings. Part 4. The So What? Living a Connected Life. Have you ever wondered why some days feel so effortless, so full of flow, while others feel like a constant struggle? Or why some relationships thrive, while others are filled with conflict? What if the answer lies not in some random chance, but in the very fabric of reality, in the way we are all interconnected? What if every action we take, every thought we have, creates ripples that shape our experience and the world around us? This is the essence of karma. Karma is often misunderstood as some kind of cosmic reward or punishment system. But it's much simpler and much more profound than that. Karma simply means action. And the law of karma is the law of cause and effect. Every action we take, every thought, every word, every deed, creates consequences, like ripples spreading out across a pond. Think about it like this. You smile at a stranger. That simple act of kindness might brighten their day. They might be more patient with their cashier, who might then go home and be more loving to their family. The ripples of that one smile can extend far beyond what you can see. Conversely, a harsh word, a moment of anger, can also create ripples, spreading negativity and suffering. This isn't about some external force judging us. It's about the inherent interconnectedness of all things. Our actions matter because we are not separate, isolated individuals. We are part of a vast web, and every action we take affects the entire web. Science increasingly supports this concept. For example, studies have shown that acts of kindness trigger the release of oxytocin, a hormone associated with bonding and social connection, in both the giver and the receiver. The Four Noble Truths, the foundation of Buddhist teachings, are deeply intertwined with dependent origination. They are, in essence, a practical application of this principle of interconnectedness. The first noble truth is the truth of dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. But it's more than just physical pain. It encompasses the feelings of dissatisfaction, anxiety, and frustration that arise from the impermanent nature of reality. This suffering arises because of the conditions described in the 12 links. The second noble truth is the truth of the cause of suffering. And what is that cause? It's craving, trsna, the 8th link in the chain of dependent origination. It's our clinging to pleasure, our aversion to pain, our attachment to a false sense of self. The third noble truth is the truth of the cessation of suffering. It's the realization that we can be free from suffering, that we can break the cycle of craving and grasping. This is achieved by addressing the root cause, ignorance, and cultivating wisdom and understanding. The fourth noble truth is the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. And what is that path? It's the Eightfold Path, a set of guidelines for living a more mindful, ethical, and compassionate life. It's about cultivating wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline, all of which help us to see reality more clearly and to break free from the grip of ignorance and craving. The Eightfold Path is the practical application of understanding the 12 links. One of the most profound and sometimes challenging concepts in Buddhism is anatta, or no self. It means that there is no permanent, independent, unchanging self or soul within us. We are not fixed entities, but rather constantly changing processes, interconnected with everything around us. Think of your body. It's made up of cells that are constantly being replaced. The food you eat, the air you breathe, the water you drink, all become part of you. You are, quite literally, a walking ecosystem, constantly exchanging matter and energy with the environment. And your mind is just as fluid, just as impermanent. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are constantly changing, influenced by your experiences and interactions. The Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh coined the term interbeing to describe this interconnectedness. He says that we inter-are with everything else. We exist because of everything else. We are not separate, isolated individuals, but rather expressions of the entire universe. So what happens when we truly embrace this interconnectedness? When we live as if we are not alone? When we truly grasp this concept of interconnectedness, when we feel it in our bones, it has a profound impact on our lives. We start to worry less about things we can't control, because we understand that we are not separate from the flow of events. For example, instead of obsessing over a future outcome, we can focus on doing our best in the present moment, trusting that the results will unfold in their own way. We realize that our actions have consequences, and we naturally want to act with more kindness, more compassion, more understanding. If someone is rude to us, we might still feel a moment of irritation, but we're less likely to take it personally. We understand that their behavior is likely the result of their own suffering, their own conditioning, their own struggles. This doesn't excuse their actions, but it allows us to respond with more empathy and less reactivity. And the beautiful thing is, science is confirming the benefits of this kind of mindset. Studies have shown that practicing compassion and kindness not only benefits others, but also improves our own well-being. It reduces stress, boosts our immune system, and increases our overall happiness. Living a connected life is not just good for the world. It's good for us. Part 5. Practice. See the connections yourself. We've talked about the theory, the philosophy, the science, but how do we actually live this interconnectedness? How do we make it a part of our everyday experience? It starts with awareness. It starts with paying attention. It starts with mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, without getting carried away by them. And it's a powerful tool for seeing the interconnectedness of all things. Try this. Right now, Take a moment to notice your breath. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. That air has been cycled through countless living beings over millions of years. You are literally breathing in the world, and the world is breathing you. Or think about your next meal. Consider all the people who were involved in bringing that food to your table. The farmers, the truck drivers, the grocery store workers. Think about the sun, the rain, the soil that nourished the plants. See how many connections are involved in just one simple meal. The more you pay attention, the more you start to see these connections everywhere. Now, let's bring it back to those 12 links of dependent origination. Don't think of them as a rigid list, but as a guide, a way to understand the flow of your own experience. Start to notice how these links play out in your daily life. When you feel stressed, ask yourself, what's the feeling? What am I craving? What am I clinging to? Where is the ignorance in this situation? Am I seeing things clearly? By bringing awareness to these links, you start to see the patterns, the habits of mind that create suffering. And when you see them, you have the power to change them. The most direct way to live a connected life is to be kind. Kindness isn't just a nice thing to do. It's a recognition of our interconnectedness. When we act with kindness, we're sending out positive ripples, affecting not just the person we're being kind to, but the entire web of existence. Try a simple practice. Metta, or loving kindness meditation. Sit quietly and bring to mind someone you care about. Silently repeat phrases like, "May you be well," "May you be happy," "May you be peaceful," "May you be free from suffering." Then, gradually extend that feeling of loving kindness to yourself, to other people you know, to people you don't know, even to people you find difficult. Feel the connection, the shared humanity.